It's 17:30 GMT live from Adabraka in Accra. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM with Umaru Sanda Ahmadu, and I'm here with
Eugenia Tenkran.
And coming up over the next 90 minutes.
Let me put on record that my wife's travel and tour company, Specialty Travel, first secured a contract to issue tickets for GPHA staff travel in 2005.
Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority Board Chair Peter McMahon responds to damning allegations of impropriety against him with a threat to drag agitating employees to court. Also coming up, police at Nima in Accra to parade owner of Obinfo Hospital, Dr. Obinando, before court over possible case of negligence in the death of a deputy CEO of the National Entrepreneurship Innovation Program, Stacey Ofedakun.
When he is found guilty, he has up to 25 years. That is what the law says. And we have a fine of 1,000 penalty unit to a 10,000 penalty unit.
We'll be hearing more from the police on exactly what they intend to do, and later on Eyewitness News.
Whereas this ceremony fulfills the earnest desire of the family and the nation at large to assuage the brutal murder of the officer, it can hardly fill the void created by his untimely death.
The family of late Maxwell Mahama, who are demanding for justice, which has been eluding the family exactly a year since the family member died in that gruesome murder in the Central Region. Stay with 97.3 Citi FM for more on these and many more stories on Eyewitness News. And in business,
MTN issues public offer to raise 3.47 billion cedis. Also, latest reports by the Ghana Chamber of Bulk Oil Distributors reveals 915 million cedis ESLA taxes were not accounted for between 2016 and 2017.
Jessica Ayoko Aye will return in 50 minutes with details of the top stories in business. Eyewitness News is live across the country on a number of affiliates and across the globe on citynewsroom.com. The show is also live on Facebook with support from the digital media team of 97.3 Citi FM. There's Facebook Live from the studios here. Or your comments can come on the show for us to read them for you. 0549 986 996. That's our WhatsApp number. 0549 986 996. You can follow me on Twitter at Umaru Sanda and send your tweet. You can tweet at Citi973 or at Eugenia Tinkran with the hashtag Citi Newsroom. And still on Eyewitness News, police in Accra allegedly caused injury to one of the unemployed nurses who have been picketing in Accra during a confrontation. But our first story has to do with a story brought to you last week on allegation of workers of the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority. They wanted the removal of the board chairman Peter McMahon. He today called a press conference and responded. Eugenia, tell us what he said.
But first, we will be hearing from the board chairman of the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority. That is Peter McMahon, who has threatened to seek legal redress after allegations of misconduct were leveled against him by the GPHA union. Members of the union issued a 2-week ultimatum to the government to remove Mr. Menu from the post. The union, in a press release, accused him of running a system based on cronyism in the allocation of contracts. Speaking at a press conference in Accra today, the GPHA board chairman said the allegations were false.
If the union will go out when we are doing what we call the supreme interest of the country, because the business belongs to the government and people of Ghana, and they think they can still spew lies to damage me, and by extension, as I said, to GPHA and government, that we are corrupt, as many people are saying in their Facebook wall, then I'm sorry that we have a long way to go as a country. We won't allow falsehood to run over truths, and that's why I'm setting this record, and from here the lawyers will follow.
You heard the board chairman of the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, Peter McMahon. Meanwhile, the Director General of the GHPA, Paul Asari Ansah, says they have queried the union for embarking on such a move.
They are supposed to answer why they breached the procedure and then travel to Takrade without express authorization to hold a press conference.
But they have the right to iron out their issues with the board chair and the director, if they so wish to do so? Are you not using your office to try to sort of, bring them down?
No, there were times they had issues where they directed those issues to us as management. Issues to do with the MPS, safe bond, issues they did not understand. And we took the trouble to explain to them, for them to understand. We even organized workers' debates to address the issues, So we have a procedure like that.
Director General of the GPHA, Paul Asari Ansan.
And he was supported by the director of the Tema Port as well as the director of the Takoradi Port during a press conference today, which was primarily addressed by former NPP chair, who is also the board chair of Gapoha, who was responding to those allegations today. And he indeed threatened to drag the workers of the company who wanted his removal based on a number of allegations that they raised, which we brought to you here on Eyewitness News last week. So let's hear again Peter McMenu threatening to drag the workers to court for apparently defaming him.
All those allegations are false and bogus and have no merit at all. The Takoradi press conference of the unions was a personal and direct attack on me, and I must admit it was very painful. It is painful because not a single one of the allegations is true. Painful because it is pretty obvious to me that some persons have either a personal score to settle against me or are using me falsely to paint the MPP government as corrupt, or both. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, the first allegation I would like to address is one by the union that my wife has taken over ticketing for staff travel and the authority is being priced at cutthroat prices. Let me put on record that my wife's travel and tour company, Specialty Travel, first secured a contract to issue tickets for GPHA staff travel in 2005. In fact, the NDC, after winning power, abrogated the contract in 2009. The only reason Specialty Travel lost the contract was because of me, Peter McMahon. Specialty Travels went back to GPHA in March 2017, and the letter they sent to GPHA is here, to be re-engaged when I was not even a board chairman. They were contracted by GPHA months before I was sworn in as board chairman in July 2017. This is my appointment letter by the president, dated 7th June, and I was sworn in by the minister in July 2017. So Specialty got re-engaged after 2009 when I was not a board chairman. So how could this be classified as conflict of interest? How? The Specialty Travels was contracted by GPHA before I was sworn in as board chairman. I also want to put on record that when I was sworn in, I made full disclosure to the board about my wife's company dealings with the GPHA. Let me stress that they won their contract a whole 4 months before my appointment as board chair. The second allegation is that I forced GPHA to be shortchanged in a concession by asking management to accept a mere $200,000 for a 25-year concession from an LNG terminal project. Tema LNG Consortium is the entity contracted to receive and regasify liquefied natural gas, LNG, from Rosenfeld of Russia to be supplied to GNPC, Ghana National Petroleum Corporation, to feed some 25% of Ghana's electricity supply. Ladies and gentlemen, if for nothing at all, my work as board chairman, as the record will show, is making sure that the right thing is done for GPHA and the country and not the other way around.
If the union will go out when we are doing what we call the supreme interest of the country, because the business belongs to the government and people of Ghana. And they think they can still spew lies to damage me, and by extension, as I said, to GPHA and government, that we are corrupt, as many people are saying in their Facebook wall. Then I'm sorry that we have a long way to go as a country. We won't allow falsehood to run over truth. And that's why I'm setting this record, and from here, the lawyers will follow. We are going to the court to prove to the entire Ghanaians, and to the media especially, that what they spewed out in Takoradi was complete falsehood, and I continue to say bogus.
So you heard Peter McMeno, who is a board chair of the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority Board. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM, broadcasting from number 11 Dr. Martin Loop in Adabraka in Accra. A number of reactions coming through on that particular story. Yawodu has sent me a tweet, and he says the President of the Republic himself is immensely involved in cronyism, and so are his appointees. AU Farouk in Tamale says Mr. McMeno should give us a break. He can't hide under the cover of darkness to deceive us of no wrongdoing. You can also send your tweets using the hashtag Citi Newsroom. Tweet at Umaru Sanda or at Citi973 with that hashtag, the Citi Newsroom. You can alternatively go on our WhatsApp platform. The number to send your messages to is 0549 986 996. 0549 986 996. Sir Obama in Pokwasi says, now that Peter McMeno has set the record straight, it's my fervent prayer that the union workers will eat a humble pie and apologize to the board chair of Gapoha. In all of these, I smell an umbrella in this character assassination. This is Eyewitness News, broadcasting from number 11 Dr. Martin Loop in Adabraka in Accra on 97.3 Citi FM. I am Umaru Sandamadu here with Eugenia Tinkran. Stay with us.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
NIIT, your number one.
So what we try to do on the City Breakfast Show is to keep a conversation flowing. So you'll typically have us do the newspaper review in a very fun, easygoing way, because people are stressed out, they're going to work. We're serious with the issues, but we present it in a fun way. And there are times listeners can send us a message and that becomes the whole show. So a couple of days ago, somebody complained about the East Legon Tunnel, and that became like a whole program. The idea is that the people listen.
You're welcome back. City News has gathered that the owner of Obinfu Hospital, Dr. Obin Andor, will be put before court soon over the death of one of his patients, Stacey Ofei-Darko, who was the deputy CEO of the National Entrepreneurship Innovative Program. Madam Darko died last Monday after a medical checkup at the Obinfu Hospital. This incident is the latest in a litany involving the hospital. City News' Farida Shaibu has been following the story and reports.
This is not the first time a patient has died at the Obinfu Hospital in Weja in Accra. In March 2013, 47-year-old Rex Fafadago went to the hospital for surgery but did not return. According to his family, after the unsuccessful surgery, the deceased was later found in a pool of blood in one of the rooms at the hospital with 3 openings, 2 on the side and 1 at the umbilical cord. They suspected something might have been inserted into him. The family then petitioned the Medical and Dental Council to investigate the doctor. It was then revealed that Dr. Dominic Obin Andor was operating without a license. The investigation also revealed that in 2012, Dr. Obin Andor was handed a 3-year suspension by the Medical and Dental Council. In his defense, Dr. Obin explained that the Medical and Dental Council has refused to renew his license despite several attempts he made to them. In December 2016, Dr. Obin Andor was arrested after the council has received several complaints from some persons who had patronized his service. Subsequently, in 2017, a team of policemen led by the Medical and Dental Council stormed the hospital premises and locked up the place. Dr. Obin Andor was said to be absent. However, a few days later, the hospital was back in full operation. Just last Monday, May 21, the Deputy CEO of the National Entrepreneurship Innovative Program, Stacey Ofei-Darko, was reported to have passed away at the Obinfu Hospital, where she is said to have gone for a medical checkup. However, hospital authorities decided to deposit her body at the morgue 4 days after her death without informing her family members. Currently, the Criminal Investigations Department of the Ghana Police Service is investigating the case. But how did we even get here? Dr. Eli Atikui is a registrar at the Medical and Dental Council.
This individual was arrested with the assistance of the police. The place was closed down, and invariably the place got open. Then it was closed down a second time, also in conjunction with the police, and for whatever reason, the place got open again. And we came out specifically to talk about it, but it appeared nobody was listening to the Medical and Dental Council, and it is unfortunate it has gotten that way. So if the state agencies so responsible haven't really gotten the case started, then we will continue to wait and then come in as witnesses, because we don't have the capacity to arrest and to prosecute.
There are indications that the case will be put before court before next week, and per the law, Dr. Oben Ando is likely to face a 25-year jail term.
As we speak, he does not have a valid registration to practice or hold himself up as a doctor. And per the provisions in the Health Professions Regulatory Bodies Act 2013 at 857, well, when he is found guilty, he has up to 25 years. That is what the law says. And we have a fine of 1,000 penalty units to a 10,000 penalty unit. So we're talking about 12,000 to 120,000 cedis, or to a term of not more than 25 years or both. And if the police are going to use the provisions in our law, or there could be other charges that may be preferred against him.
Farida Shaibu filed that report.
97.3 Citi FM. This is Eyewitness News, broadcasting from number 11, Dr. Martin Lupin Adabraka in Accra. So it appears that the hospital in question, or the medical center in question, has its own track record of a number of issues. That's the Obinfo Medical Center. Eric Kwesi Atikwi is the registrar of the Ghana Medical and Dental Council. They have been involved in this case a number of times. It appears they are finding difficulties reaching or having conclusions or closure on how to deal with particular issues. He's joined me on the line. You're welcome, sir, to Eyewitness News. So how many times has this case or this hospital been reported to your outfit, and indeed the man who runs that particular facility? How many times have you received complaints and having had to act on this particular case?
Yeah, we had more than 3 complaints on this particular practitioner.
Okay, and how did they...
And we had acted on a number of occasions. He has gone through our disciplinary process, where he did appear before the Penal Cases Committee, and then he went through the disciplinary committee processes. The first time was when he was brought in by an aggrieved individual, where he did some surgery, prostatectomy, and then the individual really developed serious complications. The second one was the fact that he was advertising, which was at variance with practice of medicine and dentistry in Ghana. The third one, again, was that an individual died in that particular facility. And then the fourth one is the one that we realized that he was practicing without registration, and then the institution was closed down on 2 occasions, and that institution was reopened without recourse to the provisions in the law.
Who is in charge of reopening this facility on 2 occasions, like you said? Is it the gentleman himself, or some officials outside your council?
Well, the information available to us is that the individual himself broke the law that was used to close down the place, and then started practicing. And based on that, we went back to report to the police for them to take the necessary action. You see, because there's a need for us to really look at what role the Medical and Dental Council plays. You see, the Medical and Dental Council has the power to close down the institution. But it should be done with the assistance with the police. Now, in the event that that is done without the assistance of the police, the Medical and Dental Council is to report within 24 hours to the police and then hand over whatever keys that were used to lock down the place.
All right. So when it came to your attention that the gentleman had broken the locks and went back to work, yes, did you again go to report to the police, and what was the response?
Yeah, that was what I was alluding to earlier. That the first time he broke the law, reopened the place, and then we went back to the place, and then we went to re-close the place. Now we have been informed that he broke it again. But again, at the end of the day, once the Medical and Dental Council was assisted to lock or to close down the place, we go by the provisions in the law. And therefore, it now became an issue of the Ghana Police Service to continue to do their investigations and prosecute the individual. Interestingly, the Medical and Dental Council doesn't have the power to arrest, neither does the Medical and Dental Council have the power to prosecute. They are state agencies that are mandated to go or to do this particular action or carry out these duties.
Now, if these duties or if these sanctions are not being properly executed, can you write to any authority? Can you call on anybody to assist you? Perhaps talk to the Attorney General if you're not getting the satisfactory service you need from the police at the local level?
You see, I alluded to the fact that the council is going to come out with a comprehensive report because we have written to the police service, we have written to the Director General of the CID, and the last letter that we wrote, which was about a few months back, was to the Inspector General of Police himself. Now, we had also copied the Attorney General of whatever letters that we had written. 2 years ago, we even made a presentation to the Bureau of National Investigation, BNI. Now, I wouldn't be able to really say that the council has not exhausted whatever available avenues to aid. But again, I am not speaking to exonerate the council, and I'm not speaking at this time to really apportion blame. But what we need to indicate is that the council has done whatever was possible within the confines of the law.
Is this the first time or the only instance where you close down a facility but the person goes ahead to open same and continue to operate?
Well, as much as I'm aware, this is the first time we had encountered a situation like that. I mean, previously, if institutions were closed down, we went through due process, and if those institutions had to be reopened, we went there with the assistance of the police, and the institutions were reopened. They are laid down procedures. They are legal issues that you need to really go through to ensure that an institution is closed down, and if there's a need for the institution to be reopened, the institution is reopened after we have followed due process.
So where could Dr. Ando possibly be drawing his powers from to continue to operate in the manner that he's operating?
Well, unfortunately, I am not Dr. Ando. I am not Dr. Ando's counsel. I don't work with Dr. Ando, so I'm unable to really even speculate where he would be drawing his powers from.
Now, on the occasions that you investigated and decided that he was not fit to operate, what did you find wrong? Is it, first of all, the case that he's not a doctor, or is it the case that his facility is not up to the standard of operating what it claims to be operating? Exactly what did you find wrong?
Yeah. You see, let us go through the process. We are not denying the fact that Dr. Obin Ando did not train as a doctor. Dr. Obin Ando qualified as a medical practitioner from KNUST School of Medical Sciences. He registered with the Medical and Dental Council. Now, in 2012-2013, I indicated earlier that he went through due process and then he was suspended for a period of 3 years. Now, we came to our knowledge that the practitioner has filed an appeal, and per the provisions in our law, the appeal serves as a stay of execution. So, having filed the appeal, then the onus now laid on the practitioner to continue to renew his registration with the Medical and Dental Council. Now, what really happened was that after some time, we noted that this practitioner had not renewed his registration with the Medical and Dental Council. And by law, you cannot continue to hold yourself up as a doctor or continue to practice as a doctor when you have not renewed your registration or you are not registered by the Medical and Dental Council. So we decided to take the appropriate action.
Very well. So what should be the way forward now? Again, there's a case on our hands and it also relates to this particular hospital. What would be your advice moving forward?
In the first place, the police have been told, have either completed their investigation and therefore he's been arraigned before court. Well, we will continue to look at how the events unfold. Yes, there are provisions as to what happens to a practitioner when he or she is convicted. But again, we have also, as a professional body, have started some investigations. Right. Then the police will continue to do its job. The professional regulator will also do its job. Yes. And that had always been the case.
I see.
Now, the advice I would wish to give the Ghanaian, which I had previously done, is that, you see, let us be cautious as to what we want to do to our bodies. Let us be cautious as to whom we would want to treat us. Let us be cautious as to what they give us to take or what type of surgeries we would want to go for and which particular individual is those particular surgeries on our bodies. I will have a small advice to my colleagues, the doctors. We should know the level to which we would wish to go when we are practicing as doctors and dentists.
Very well. Thank you so much for your time tonight on Eyewitness News. Eric Kwesi Atiku is the registrar of the Ghana Medical and Dental Council. So what is the police angle looking like? The case, we have been told, has been reported and there's a possible appearance in court next week or so. Anas Seidu, a City News' reporter with the security services, he's joined me in the studios. Anas, what do we know as far as the case involving Dr. Ando is concerned?
Sandra, what we do know is that he was arrested by the Homicide Division of the Criminal Investigation Department of the Ghana Police. And because they don't have a cell or a place to keep him, they checked in at the Nima Police Station, where the Nima Police will be the custodian of the suspect whilst the investigations go on. As we speak now, information that we've been able to gather indicate that the doctor has been sent to the police hospital because he complained of ill health, and he was granted that though he's at the police hospital, but technically he's still under their custody. So
the police are having him. They actually possibly would be by his bedside while he's receiving treatment. But do we know when he was arrested?
According to sources indicated that he was arrested somewhere yesterday.
And we're also picking up information that he'll be paraded before the court, he'll be put before court?
Yeah, but currently as we speak, due to ill health, they'll have to tackle that first at the hospital. Once he's fine and fit to appear before a judge, they'll make sure he appear before one.
Do we know if there was a formal complaint to the police for which reason they went to pick him up, or this is based on media reports?
Sandra, we try to get some of these formal information from the police. The police are yet to formally come out with a communication on this particular matter. But this is what we've been able to gather, that they arrested him, and some say it's based on intelligence. Others are also saying that there was a formal complaint, but the police will come out with a formal statement with regards to this particular matter.
Thank you very much. Anna Seido is a man who reports from the security agencies. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM, broadcasting from number 11, Dr. Martin Loop in Adabraka in Accra. Let's move on to some other stories now, still in the security sector. Eugenia?
Now, the family of the late Major Maxwell Mahama this morning joined the Ghana Armed Forces to cut the sword for the construction of a monument in his honor at Airport Hills Runabout. A memorial service was also held at the St. Catherine Catholic Church at Bema Camp in Accra to mark 1 year of his passing. The service, which lasted for about 2 hours, brought together some former government officials, including a former Attorney General, Betty Mould Idrisu. Major Maxwell Mahama was lynched by a mob at Dentroboase in the central region. The family later laid wreaths at the military cemetery at Osu in his honor. And speaking to the media after the ceremony, a family member, Zachariah Zakara Ahmed, commended the government, parliament, the military, among others, for their support.
We are grateful. We thank the government. We thank the military high command. We thank parliament. All the requests that we have made have been met. And as you have seen from the program, the last one, which is the erection of the monument in his memory, will be done this afternoon. So we are grateful to the president, and we are grateful to the military high command, and we are grateful to you, the journalists, for all the support that you have given us for all this while.
We had a family member of the late Major Maxwell Mahama, Zachariah Zakara Ahmed. Now, the Minister for Defense, Dominic Nitiwol, has assured the family of the late Major Mahama that justice will prevail. The family has bemoaned the delay in convicting some 12 people standing trial for the alleged involvement in his murder. Speaking at the sword cutting ceremony for the erection of a monument in his memory, Mr. Nitiwol said the perpetrators will not go unpunished.
That I welcome you all this afternoon to this solemn ceremony to cut the sword for the construction of a monument in honor of our departed colleague, Major Maxwell Adam Mahama. I say so because whereas this ceremony fulfills the earnest desire of the family and the nation at large to assuage the brutal murder of the officer, it can hardly fill the void created by his untimely death. And it is the hope of everybody that the memory of Major Mahama will live on forever. Thank you very much for your kind attention, and may God bless us all. Thank you.
You heard the Defense Minister, Dominic Nitiwol.
So exactly how did we get here? It's a year since he was murdered. What were the circumstances surrounding his murder, and what actions have been taken so far, or what statements have been made so far? Eugenia Tinkran of the City Newsroom took us back.
News of the horrific murder of the then Captain Mahama trickled in on May 29 last year. The anger, pain, and tears were not only expressed by the immediate family members of the slain soldier. It was a nation in pain.
I am glad you saw me worthy to share in your great but short life. I won't forget to tell the kids how heroic and great you were and are. Your memory will never die. You are not dead. You are still alive, alive in our hearts. But when I think about you, I only smile.
Citi FM's journalist, Obrimpong Yao Ampofo, reported from the then Dentroboase a few days after the horrible act.
When I got to the town on that fateful afternoon, the town basically was deserted. Just as I got there and I was about speaking to an elderly woman who was in clothes standing by the roadside, the sounds of a military helicopter that was approaching got the woman and few others, including pregnant women, running towards every direction just by instinct. It was a dead town. The school in the community was closed, and BECE candidates and their teachers had already fled the community to nearby Diasu Township.
52 people were rounded up subsequently, but only 12 of them are standing trial now. Captain Mahama was posthumously promoted to the rank of a major. But this is not what will bring a smile to the families' faces. For them, the number of people standing trial is proof of the seriousness attached to this case.
Looking at what we saw in the videos and the number of people that were arrested at the beginning, we thought that we would have had more people. And I mean, you have mob justice, mob action. We expect to have a mob trial. Let the court look at everybody. Let them come to the court and come and defend themselves, come and explain their presence at the scene on that day. Unfortunately, this is not what happened, and we cannot hold the police responsible. Our sentiments are our sentiments. The law is the law.
The tears are yet to run dry, 1 year on. Today, at the solemn anniversary organized for Major Mahama, his dad fought back tears as he called for justice.
Today marks the 1 year. Since 29th May 2017, when he died, the pain has always been the same. And today, it's as if it happened even today. We are still in pain, and we pray that justice will take its course until all the mob, all the mob is...
Gentlemen, thank you very much.
Oh, Maxwell, Adam, Mahama, we truly sorry, oh. Ghana is really sorry, oh.
So that's Shatawale ending that report by Eugenia Tinkran on the late Maxwell Mahama, bringing us a trajectory of events as we recall. Indeed, there were a number of big speeches after the death at the Burma camp here in Accra. First, let's hear the Commander-in-Chief of the Ghana Armed Forces, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, who is President of the Republic.
Everybody who was involved in this horrible event would face justice. President, responsible for law and order in our country, that is the least that I could do. Fortunately for me, the police have been very active. I think as I speak, at least 40 people now being remanded. Nevertheless, we have to do something to show our horror, our revulsion at what happened to him. You can be consoled by the fact that the entire Ghanaian nation is horrified and upset about what happened to your husband. I've not come across anybody who has expressed anything but indignation and horror at what happened.
So that's President Akufo-Addo speaking around the same period after the death of Maxwell Mahama. Indeed, former President John Dramani Mahama also was there.
I traveled on an international assignment and I was just getting ready to return from India when I received this very, very terrible news. And I wish to extend my condolences to Maxwell's wife, Barbara, and the little children. There's a tragedy that nobody expects at a time like this. Maxwell was a very fine officer, very respected in the army, and he had a very bright career ahead of him. And unfortunately, I mean, to die this way is totally unacceptable. The military are an institution that sacrifices a lot to defend us. And for those who are to defend us to become the victims, you know, of ourselves, for us to inflict this kind of death on them is unacceptable completely. And I want to express my condolences to his family, to the Ghana Army, Ghana Armed Forces, you know, for this loss of such a fine officer.
So that's former President John Dramani Mahama. Indeed, it was a gruesome murder that was captured on tape, and it drew a lot of outrage and anger across the country. Indeed, a number of persons were arrested. There was a legal battle. That legal battle is still ongoing. Justice has not been served a year on. Fred Tete-Jabano is a court correspondent. He's joined me in studio. Fred, so take us back. How many people were arrested and how many are still standing trial, if there are any, and how many have been sent home?
Yeah, so Sandra, when the incident occurred, 50 people were initially picked up. These 50 people, there were investigations, and out of these 50 people, 22 of them were arraigned and charged with conspiracy to commit murder and murder. Later, during the hearings, out of the 22 people, 8 of them, the charges were dropped for 8 of these people, 8 of these 22 people who were left. According to state prosecutors, the evidence they had couldn't back the charges they had leveled against these 8, leaving 14 people with the police and the other courts. These 14 people were indicted and moved to the High Court. At the High Court, the case began about a month ago. It delayed a bit because there needed to be the putting together of a jury. This had faced some problems. For 2 occasions, the defense team and the prosecution couldn't reach an agreement as to which people would form the jury. There needed to be a 7-member panel. After 2 sittings of the court, finally the panel was put together. We had 7 members making up the jury to hear the case. As we speak, the first prosecution witness has been brought. He is the second in command to Major Mahama, the late Major Mahama. He has testified on behalf of the prosecution, and cross-examination is taking place.
When next are we seeing the case, or is the case going to be called?
The case will be called in 2 weeks' time.
And the cross-examination is no cross-examination. What is going to happen in next?
There's still cross-examination taking place. So you must know that there are 14 people who are in this case, 14 suspects or accused persons. And these 14 accused persons, their lawyers would cross-examine
each of them.
Each of the lawyers for the 14 people would cross-examine the witness. So that's what is taking place.
So it's been a year since, and justice has not been served. But of course, it's not going to be served anytime soon. Based on what you are saying to us, 14 people, that will be grinding really, really slow, isn't it?
Yes, it depends on how fast the prosecution bring their witnesses, how fast the defense also go with their case. And you must also know that the defense was also going to bring some witnesses to testify on their behalf. So it's a case which will take a while to end.
Thank you very much, Fred Tetejabano is our court correspondent. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. When we come back, one person has been injured among the unemployed nurses who have been picketing in Accra after a confrontation with police.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Life is a hustle and a bustle, but we don't move any muscle yet. Life is easy with FlexiPay. With a single touch of my finger, pay all bills, don't linger. Life is fun with FlexiPay. So we click this, click that, and we pay this, pay that. Life is easy with FlexiPay. Easy with FlexiPay. So we click this, click that, and we pay this, pay that. Life is fun with FlexiPay. Fun with FlexiPay. ECG, GoTV and all bills from one Ghana to Waterview. Phone, credit, data, DSTV. Send your mobile money anywhere. So we click this, click that, and we pay this, pay that. Life is easy with FlexiPay. Easy with FlexiPay.
FlexiPay. Endless possibilities. Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
You're welcome back to Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. So the Conference of Heads of Assisted Secondary Schools, CHAS, yesterday wrote a statement demanding that the government pays the monies that they ought to be paid to use in running senior high schools as part of the rollout of the free senior high school policy. They have been lamenting, indeed, they have said that just an insignificant percentage of the 400 million cedis or so that was budgeted for the free SHS was paid to them, and they needed more so that they could go ahead and carry out the administration of education in the senior high schools. And we understand that the government has responded. Duke Mensah Opoku is our parliamentary correspondent, and he's joined me in the studio. Duke, first of all, what did CHAS say in that letter that they wrote, and what was the response today?
Well, to quote certain portions of the letter that was written yesterday, signed by Victor Yan, who is the national president of the Conference of Heads of Assisted Secondary Schools, CHAS, it says, we are in the 7th week of reopening and we are required to spend 14 weeks in school this term, and yet no school has received any grant from the Free SHS Secretariat. We therefore be grateful if the third term grant could be paid without any further delay to ensure the smooth running of the term. But to give it,
who was this addressed to? And
it was addressed to the national coordinator of the Free SHS Secretariat, copied to the Honorable Minister of Education, the chairman of the Ghana Education Service Council, and the Director General of the Ghana Education Service.
When was it dated?
28th May, which is yesterday. Now, it says that it's to inform you that the delayed payment of the free SHS grant of the third term of the 2017-2018 academic year is creating serious financial challenges for senior high schools.
All right. So then there's a response. Where do we have this response?
Then there's a response dated today, 29th May, signed by Head of Public Relations at the Ministry of Education, Vincent Eko Asifwa. It says that as part of its commitment to quality education delivery outcomes in the country, government has released 124,520,623 Ghana cedis to various sectors. Now the breakdown is as follows: 46 million representing third term free SHS disbursement. Now these disbursements are in addition to payments made to buffer stock to provide food for our senior high school students, and then 40,010,112 Ghana cedis for full payment of teacher trainee allowances for the period April to July 2018, which is for 4 months, and then 38,441,000 cedis being full payment to NCTE for onward payment to Principals Conference in respect of colleges of education feeding grants. So this 124 million covers free SHS third term feeding grants, teacher training allowances, and college of education feeding grants.
So it means everything has been cleared, isn't it?
Yes, that's per this release signed by Vincent Eko Asifwa.
Thank you very much, Duke Mensah Opoku. But let's stay with free SHS because the minority is threatening to take the government to court. Indeed, it says that the story on citynewsroom.com says the government, the New Patriotic, what am I saying? The minority in Parliament, NDC, is taking or threatening to take the NPP government to court for excessively using the oil funds to support its flagship free senior high school program. According to minority spokesperson on finance, Kezalato Forsin, the records of expenditure of oil revenue show that the distribution formula set out in the Petroleum Revenue Management Act has been sidestepped to fund the free SHS. The minority further alleges that the government was diverting monies from the Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund to the free senior high school program. And Duke Mensah Opoku is still in studio with me. Duke, so you were at this press conference where the minority made these claims.
Well, was
clarify for us what
was not necessarily a press conference today. As part of parliamentary deliberations, the annual report on petroleum funds, which was prepared by the Finance Committee of Parliament, was brought onto the floor of the House to be debated and approved as Parliament dictates, and this was for the three quarters of 2017. That's the first quarter, second quarter, and third quarter, ending in September 2017. Now, as part of that, various issues were raised about monies that were supposed to have gone to agriculture, which was reduced because per the Petroleum Revenue Management Act, it states out clearly certain portions of the petroleum revenue that's supposed to go into the budget. That's the ABFA, the annual budget funding amount. There's also some part of the money that's supposed to go into the Heritage Fund. There are others that are supposed to go into the Ghana Investment Infrastructure Fund. There's all that formula, or the distribution of the oil revenue is set out in the Petroleum Revenue Management Act. Now, as part of debating the issues, the minority raised the argument, and this was beautiful. This was supported by the minority leader himself, Haruna Idris, but it was started by the spokesperson on finance, who was, in seconding the motion, raised the matter that it is an illegality for government to be diverting
and so they'll be proceeding to court.
Yeah, so for them, they will be going to court because for them, almost all the money, we are crowding out all the other sectors, and all the money is being pushed into the free senior high school policy.
Thank you very much. Duke Mensah Opoku is our parliamentary correspondent. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. From education, let's return to health now. We understand one person was injured when unemployed nurses decided to picket in protest to the plan by government to enroll them on the Nation Builders Corps, the Heal Ghana module. Kugri Gaddafi Avobil is the national PRO for the trainee nurses and midwives. They have been picketing. You're welcome to Eyewitness News. So what happened?
Thank you very much, sir. And I would like to say good evening to our cherished listeners. I think that the leadership of trainee nurses and midwives across the country, today is a very sad day for us. And the issue on the ground is that one of our members has actually been wounded, and she has been sent to the Colombo Hospital as we speak now for medical treatment.
What happened to your member or your colleague?
We started the picketing yesterday at both the health ministry and that of the Ministry of Finance just to demand for our financial clearance. And we're there peacefully with the police. Yesterday at the Health Ministry, nobody attended to us. And so we proceeded to the Finance Ministry. And today, we have to still continue. And so today around 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock in the afternoon, it was to our surprise that we saw the Deputy Minister for Health, Honorable Tinamensa. He just came out, and within some minutes, we didn't know what actually happened. And the police started trying to drive some of our members away, and one of our members was brutalized.
Hello, Kugri, I'm losing you. Make that point. I'm losing you.
Yeah, so one of our members were wounded, and so he's currently undergoing treatment.
When you say wounded, exactly what was the nature of the injuries? Hello, Akugri.
Hello. Yes, sir.
There seemed to be some distraction in the background. If you could kindly concentrate so we conclude the interview. When you say your colleague was injured, what was the nature of injury?
Yeah, it's a bruise on the hand. He actually had a bruise on the hand as the police were struggling to drive them, and then she had another dislocation. And so that's the problem.
Did this person fall, perhaps while they were running away from the police, or they were physically assaulted by a police personnel?
He didn't fall. They were physically assaulted.
And what was the nature of the assault?
Yeah, it's a worry because the fellow is a lady, and this is a serious worry.
Was she beaten up? That's what I mean. By any police personnel, or what happened to them?
It was during the course of the police trying to push them. That's why she was wounded.
Yes, and I'm saying, how was she injured? Was she beaten? Did she fall? Did something scratch her? What happened to her? Do you know?
It's just like something. It's a bruise. It's like something scratched her.
So it may not be directly an attack on her by a policeman. Is that what you're saying?
Because it was struggling between her and that of the police. So it's the police that caused it.
Did the police physically beat anybody? Did they beat your colleague? That's what I mean.
So there's a victim here, one of our members who is a guy. Let me give the phone to him and he speaks to you directly.
All right, let me speak to him. Hello, sir.
Hello, sir.
Were you part of the picketing, and what happened?
I am part of the picketing. Actually, we had a successful picketing, of which we wanted. But what we heard at picketing, what I heard from Tenamenta was, he said, sack them from their premises. That's what I heard. So I entered to tell my people to calm down, and we will leave if they order us to leave. So the moment I entered, they started beating our people using their gun, using the electrical shocks, and they were beating them mercilessly. And so I drew a lady back. So I told the policeman to wait, we will tell our people to go. So what I heard was, he slapping me. So I told him to not to slap me, and they started using sticks on my shoulders. So I've got a dislocation on my right shoulder right now as I stand.
Who beat you?
Oh, the police, they were about, they mounted like 50. They were beating us mercilessly, and one policeman that I was very, very disappointed. Some were drunk.
And who gave them the order to attack you?
Oh, the commander over there, because they said they should sack us. The commander went to call them, sack them, beat them if you can beat them. Brutality. That's what they did.
The lady we are talking about, what happened to her, your colleague?
My colleague, we have about 5 colleagues that are undergoing treatment at the hospital.
5?
Yeah.
Are you also receiving treatment?
Yeah, I have an injury. Yeah, I did it. I got my treatment and I came with my leaders.
I see. Have you reported this to the superiors of the police service? Have you reported at any police station that you've been assaulted?
Yeah, we came to reach. So we are about to go to the police station to report.
Which police station are you going to report at?
As of now, it will depend on our location.
What is your name, sir?
For the police, I'm the coordinator for coalition of unemployed private nurses.
Thank you very much, Rexford, and wish you a speedy recovery. He was speaking there to me earlier. You heard Akogri Gaddafi, who is the national PRO for the Trainee Nurses and Midwives Association. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. And when we come back, the latest in the world of business will be presented by Jessica Ayoko. And on Point Blank tonight, my guest is the Bogatanga Member of Parliament, Honorable Isaac Adongo. We have a number of issues to discuss. Key amongst them, he says the Bank of Ghana is weakening public confidence in the banking sector. Exactly why? Stay with us.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Get the details. Every significant financial transaction, every market movement, and all the policies that affect your business. City Business News. Be informed.
Good evening. It's time now for City Business on Eyewitness News, brought to you by citybusinessnews.com. Let's move to our first story, where MTN is seeking to raise 3.478 billion cedis from its initial public offering IPO. By this, MTN will cede at least 35% access to the general public to own a stake in its operations. The move is also aimed at fulfilling regulatory obligation regarding the purchase of one of the 4G spectrum licenses in 2015. The telecommunication company is targeting up to 4.63 billion shares at 75 pesos per share. Speaking at the launch, the CEO of MTN East Southern Africa and Ghana, Ebenezer Asante, said the company has introduced a new way of listing on the stock exchange.
On this historic day, we move into another phase of our business, which seeks to give Ghanaians that unique opportunity to own a share of MTN. I am excited to state that the public share offer of MTN Ghana begins today, and it will end on July 31st, 2018 at 5 p.m. The entire offer is for 2 months, after which the allotment will begin. We are hoping that by September we would have the entire process ending so that the listing can begin. Interested applicants may contact our receiving banks or visit MTN branches. I am also very delighted to say that we are allowing shares to be bought through MTN mobile money.
That was the CEO of MTN East Southern Africa and Ghana, Ebenezer Asante. Moving on, a latest report released by the Ghana Chamber of Bulk Oil Distribution has revealed that a total of 915 million cedis ESLA taxes was not accounted for in both 2016 and 2017. The report, which was released today, suggests that an estimated 3.5 billion cedis should have been collected in 2017 according to ESLA receipts earned by the NPA. However, 3.151 of that figure was recorded by the Finance Ministry. The situation has been attributed to a high-level corruption and tax evasion within the petroleum sector. However, Energy Minister Boakye Jaco, launching the report, said the government is committed to solving illegalities within the petroleum sector.
We also take note that illegal fuel activity has seized our imagination, and we all are putting our shoulders to the wheel to stop it. It is in my knowledge, or my suspicion I should say, that at the time of midnight, there are only two entities that are active: ghosts and thieves, or the combination thereof. I fail to see or understand how anybody in their right minds would want to discharge flammable products at the time when ghosts and thieves are active. It is our task, it is our duty, nay, our bounden duty, to make sure that we set the highest standards of this industry. And I believe that perusal of this wonderful report that Seaboard has put together will start the process to sanity.
Energy Minister Boakye Jaco there. Now, the Association of Ghana Industries, AGI, is urging its members to open up for partnership with other African countries that are signatories to the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement. The call follows a roadshow embarked upon by the Afro Champions Initiative and the African Union to raise awareness on the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement. Speaking to City Business News after a meeting with officials from the AU, the president of the AGI, Dr. Yawedu Jane he stated that industry must prioritize the Continental Free Trade Area Agreement rather than the Economic Partnership Agreement with the European Union.
Yes, what I'm saying for us, I was explaining the same that we rather need to give more recognition to the African Trade Agreement because among ourselves, rather than bringing products from EPA. Even though we have signed up, we still have the liberty to promote it against the Continental Free Trade Agreement. Right now, I think for our own benefits, it will rather benefit us much more to focus or promote the African Trade Agreement as soon as it's implemented and move on so that it will help the benefits of Ghana rather than EPA. But the EPA will end up hurting us more than anything else. You won't get anything from it.
That was the president of the AGI, Dr. Yao Edujemfi. Meanwhile, the Commissioner of Trade and Industry at the AU, Albert Muchanga, explained to Citi Business News that the exercise will equip industries on the African continent to enter into partnerships.
The benefit to African countries is that it removes its smallness, because you have got 55 African Union member states. Now, when you have got those 55, it means that they are fragmented, they are small economies. And when you have got those 55 member states, it means there are borders across those. Now, when you are going into free trade, most of the goods will move without major impediments. So it's going to promote efficiency, and it's going to promote increased investments in the African economies. And when we have increased investments in the African economies, it's going to promote job creation, employment opportunities. And when we have employment opportunities, people get incomes, and there's going to demand for consumption. And when there's demand for consumption, businesses are motivated to invest further. So it's very good for the overall economic development of Africa.
Commissioner of Trade and Industry at the AU, Albert Muchanga. Let's move to the insurance sector now, and as part of measures to restore confidence and attract more persons into the insurance industry, some insurance companies have outlined innovative measures to achieve this aim. A lot of reasons have been cited for the low insurance penetration in Ghana. The regulator, the National Insurance Commission, is also working to reduce the issues of undercutting by insurance companies. But the head of business development at Enterprise Insurance, Phyllis Wood-Nati, is confident of turning around the fortunes in the industry soon.
We believe that one of the reasons why insurance penetration is so low is because there's a huge level of skepticism on the part of the insuring public. They are very skeptical. I mean, the very nature of insurance is something that baffles a lot of people, that you pay some small money and then when there's a claim, a huge amount will be paid. So all this is part of what we can do as insurers to grow the industry.
Phyllis Wood-Nati is the head of business development at Enterprise Insurance. She spoke when the company launched its same-day claim payments, which allows motor insurance holders access to claims the very same day a minor accident occurs. Let's now head to the stock market for the day's wrap of activities there. And investors of Enterprise Group Limited lost 6 pesos today, with investors of GCB Bank and EcoBank Transnational Incorporated also losing 2 pesos each. But investors of Benso Oil Palm and Unilever Ghana gained 2 pesos and a peso respectively. Brenda Jema of UMB Stockbrokers has more information.
At the end of today's trading session, the market saw declines in 6 equities, outweighing advances in 2 others. The GSE index closed the day session lower as it lost 16.76 points to 3,277.55, representing a year-to-date return of 27.05%. The UMB 10 index also lost 3.51 points to 1,279.82, representing a year-to-date change of 27.98%. Leading the decliners was Enterprise Group Limited, which dipped by 6 pesos to close at 3 cedis 39 pesos. GCB Bank and EcoBank Transnational Incorporated both shed 2 pesos each to close trading at 6 cedis 38 pesos and 21 pesos respectively. Prices of Cow Bank, EcoBank Ghana and Societe Generale declined a peso to close trading at 1 cedi 53 pesos, 11 cedis 64 pesos and 2 cedis 4 24 pesos in that order. Conversely, Benzo Oil Palm and Unilever Ghana added on 2 pesos and a peso to close trading at 7 cedis 26 pesos and 17 cedis 63 pesos respectively. At the end of the session, a total of 381,953 shares valued at 1,352,252 cedis 18 pesos were exchanged on the market. In the next trading session, we foresee advances in the prices of Benzo Oil Palm and Unilever Ghana as investors take positions in these stocks. Cow Bank, on the other hand, is likely to be on the losing end. For further information, you may contact UMB Investment Holdings Limited and UMB Stockbrokers Limited at number 57 Dr. Isaac Street, Northridge. Contact us on 0302-251-13708. You may also log on to www.umbinvestmentholdingslimited.com.
Brenda Gemma of UMB Stockbrokers with an update of today's trading activities on the stock market. And that's it for City Business on Eyewitness News tonight, brought to you by citybusinessnews.com. For all the latest news making the world of business, please visit our website, citybusinessnews.com. I am Jessica Ayoko Ayi. Point Blank is next.
Sambra Fie on Airtel Tigo. Airtel Tigo is asking everyone who's...
Hi, I am Umaru Sanda. I'm the host of Eyewitness News on 97.